But I think,
Keep that going.
one of the things I got away from the premise of your book is really, I think, what you're talking about is a lot of the biases that we all carry, right? Whether it's cultural biases, social biases, personal biases,
Sure.
and how that trickles down into the business and work setting. The how I know you have a story that you call like the slap dragon. I found that hilarious, by the way. Can you share that story, because I think that really highlights kind of what we're talking about.
What I wanted to call the book. It was the book's title was originally called Slapdragons, and they turned it down. I think they turned it down because it'll take me a couple minutes to explain the story, and it's kind of without context. It's a little bit weird. I also believe that there's a pretty inappropriate phrase on Urban Dictionary. I'm not gonna.
Really?
You can look it up yourselves. I'm not gonna. So I didn't want to have to compete against that. So I had to change the name. But what happened years ago is I had this client out of he was based in Texas. It was a cloud computing company, and they had sold basically accidentally one deal into Southeast Asia through a partnership. And they were very excited. They saw the growth, saw Asia as the growth story. Let's expand. So they found me somehow, and the guy who I was in touch with, very successful sales guy. He crushed everything in North America. I don't know if he'd ever left. I don't know if he'd ever been outside of the States. He was not curious. You talk about biases. He didn't even know he had biases just because he just didn't know any other way other than his. And so he was my point of contact. They sent me all of their marketing material, and they go, look, we want you to blast this out to every bank in Malaysia and Hong Kong and Singapore. And we want to, advertise and get some leads going for our cloud company. And all of his material had basically just all baseball imagery. It was like stuff, right? Everything was American spelling. Just the expressions were all baseball related. And I just immediately got it. And I just started laughing because it was like, you do not want to send this out to these markets because nobody here cares about baseball. This is just going to make you look like a clueless American company that doesn't know what the hell's going on locally here. This isn't going to help. They said, well, what do you mean? People don't play baseball. Yeah, they do. There's this Japanese guy. I'm like, Japan is like I don't know 7-8 hour flight away. Like this is not Japan. So I was like, look, you got to change the spelling. We got to get rid of this stuff. And he just said, look, just slap a friggin' dragon on it, make it Asian, and we'll sell it. And I remember just being so stunned and going, I just started thinking about this slapdragon mindset. And there are so many examples of this, both literally, but also figuratively, where I'm just going to put my stereotype or whatever generalization I've got, I'll put that down, and that'll localize enough, and they'll believe it. And it's this slapdragon mindset that I'm trying to point out, and then just say, look, this, I think we can all agree it's probably not going to be too effective. As I started telling these stories over the years, I always kept my eyes open, and people would then send me examples. Victoria's Secret did this. They were going into China, and they did a big rollout, and all their models were just wearing dragons on their underwear. It's like
that will do it. Like, that will do it.
Do you remember this? This is I did plenty of online research to get to that story.
Oh,
so
I'm sure it was very difficult.
Yeah, it's a difficult research project for me, but yeah, they were slapping dragons on everything, and it did not go over well. Not surprisingly, it was a tone deaf reception. Right? It's just like these foreigners what the hell are they doing? And by the way, it's a two-way street, or it's a multi-way street. This happens in every single direction. I keep picking on, I keep mentioning China, but like India companies, Chinese companies, everybody takes their last battle, their game plan, and they apply it. They try and slap, their approach onto expanding into other markets. And it's a very expensive process for companies to go through.
Yeah, I think this your whole kind of slapdragon metaphor really, I think, rings true. And we had talked about this in a previous podcast with a different guest, Ben Cavender. And this reminds me of an example he gave that I'm sure you'll really resonate with, is when Gap, the U.S. clothing company Gap, came into China, and they came in guns blazing with their 1969 campaign, with U.S. sizing and 1969 on all their tags and logos and everything, into China. And, 1969 was in the middle of a very dark period in Chinese history.
Right.
So that whole campaign fell completely flat, completely missed the mark, and is like, what are you doing? And just a really simple Google search would have told you like that was a bad idea.